All right, welcome to another episode of Content Sessions. We are talking to Michelle Binette.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. So, interior designer.
Yeah, so I like to say decorator.
Okay.
So I mainly focus on furnishing. I do a little bit of help like selecting finishes for renovations, but specifically I help furnish, deal with floor plans, decorating, window treatments, all that stuff.
Got it. And so that's kind of a step above interior design, or is it just kind of a different realm?
I don't want to say
you don't
that.
want to say?
I don't want
Okay,
to say
never
that.
mind.
I would, if anything, I'd say a step below. But
Got it. We're not going under
yeah,
the
we're
bus.
not going to do
anybody.
that. But it's just kind of a different focus, I would say. Like a lot of designers really prefer to focus just on renovations or new builds, whereas I really find that my niche is specifically helping clients furnish their homes, where either they did a renovation, they ran out of money, and a year later they're now ready to furnish, or they just really want to transform their space without having to do a full reno.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you get into that?
So I used to be a graphic designer, so I'm a trained graphic designer, and then from there I started to, this makes no sense to how I got here, but
It's good. My story is pretty scrambled as well, so it's good.
But then from there I kind of started doing more marketing roles I was in a franchise, so I was client facing or client side, and I just absolutely irrelevant. But I then I got my own condo. I was decorating my condo, got my own home. And while I was in corporate, I had some friends saying like, "Oh, you should really be a designer." And I was like, never thought of that. Never crossed my mind that you could actually do that for a living.
Right.
And then it was my 5-year plan, which was probably 5 years ago. But then I lost my job, so got canned. And I thought there's no way, because I had been in corporate for pretty much working for the same employees, like different roles for 12 years, hadn't interviewed in that. And I was just like, there's no way I can do that again. I'm just gonna have to start my own business, because that's got to be easier than an interview. And then basically I'm self-taught, and I started my business. And this is where I'm at.
Very similar. 3 years ago. Very similar story to mine.
Really?
I was in insurance doing risk assessments.
Oh.
And like casualty investigations,
Glamorous.
which is super sexy work. Let me tell you. But I quit because I thought I was gonna.
Yeah.
It was not nice.
Okay. It's dramatic, but yeah.
A little dramatic. So you're right. And then when I stopped, I was like, I'm just gonna start doing something different.
Yeah.
So I haven't had a resume since 2006.
Yeah, and writing a resume is like, I did update my resume when I was in corporate, and it was horrible. But
did you get a lot of pushback with the self-taught element?
no, to be honest, the beginning it was more my own mental issue. Like basically, what I've realized is, I'm sure you can relate to this. As soon as you have your own business and you consider yourself an entrepreneur, there's just most of your barriers are mindset related. And I really found that as soon as I started my own business, it was really important for me to kind of get a handle on that, and just being able to believe that I'm good enough or this or that. And a lot of that was a struggle for me, but a lot of the designers, some of my favorite designers that I look to for inspiration on the regular, are self-taught. Yeah. So pretty much 9 times out of 10, nobody ever asks the question. And the one time I was on a call with a lead who was a lawyer, and it was her and her husband, and they asked me that, and I just was not prepared, and I answered it terribly. They never became a client, but it's just a matter of being able to say I'm self-taught. This is, I've been doing it for 3 years. Yeah. And you know what, if people can look at the work and they can just draw their own conclusions from my work, and if my work is something that resonates with you and is what you want for your home, then normally that's fine.
Yeah, it's easy to get into almost like a down talk of the self-taught, especially in the early stage. You're like, well, I don't know, I just figured it out on YouTube. And, because that's what I do. But then you find ways to talk about it in a more intellectual way.
Exactly. And as long as I'm prepared to answer the question in a way that's a more positive way than just spiraling like they did the one time, it's super important. But I was going to say something else about that, but the other thing too is a lot of people look down on even just decorating versus being a designer.
Right.
And when I find myself correcting, if somebody says, "Oh, interior designer," I'm just correcting them because I'm not trying to claim to be a designer, because I know a lot of designers can look down if you don't have a degree or whatever.
Got it.
So, but yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. And so what's your favorite type of project? Do you do like residential and commercial, or mostly residential?
Mostly residential. The only commercial I've done has been an Airbnb in Prince Edward County. And I loved that project. Like, I really, really loved that project. They just let me do my own thing. I was able to be a little bit out of the box. But mainly I really like working residential, mostly because it is a little harder and more difficult because it's so personal to your clients. Sure. But you really get to create a space that gets people excited. The budgets are a little bit better. I mean, it depends, but like for an example, in Airbnb, the budgets aren't always the greatest for, not to say it's all bogus budgets, but I've realized fairly quickly that a healthy budget helps me really be able to be as creative as I want to be. And so.
What's the most interesting thing you've ever put in someone's house?
Well, that's a tough question. Okay. What's the most interesting thing I've ever put in someone's house? I probably have to look, probably the Airbnb, in someone's house, it's not a house, it's the Airbnb, but these spaces were, we needed to transform them in a very, very quick way, so we didn't have time to do like massive renos or cool wallpaper, so it's not necessarily like a thing, but we did like we painted really cool features on the walls, so certain walls were a little bit awkward with like slanted ceilings, so instead of kind of working against it, I just decided to work with it and then make it feel a little more intentional. So like in one room it was like these really cool stripes, in another room it was like a really long room with a bit of an angle, so I did stripes and then they kind of went up to a point. So and it was great because they just were like, yeah, we trust you. Yeah. Which was amazing.
That's good. Is wallpaper making a comeback? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Big time?
Yes.
I worked for
a
flooring store way back in my late teens, early 20s. And we had a wallpaper like section of it. We said flooring and paint, whatever. And then the wallpaper like slowly made it out. But it seems that it's like...
Yeah, it's huge right now. Like super huge right now. And sometimes clients, like first of all, the clients you want to work with are the ones that really trust you. And like wallpaper is not for every room, but in the right space where it makes sense. Like if a client's going to let you trust, or they're going to trust your vision, you can do some really cool stuff. And it's not like it used to be. Like now they make it so that you can remove it more easily and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, that's why no one liked it before. I remember trying to scrape that shit off with that whatever the hell,
terrible.
That acid stuff.
Oh yeah, I did it for a friend's house like way back in the day. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So it has a bad rap, but it's good now.
And so, how do you get most of your clients now? Yeah, or maybe even from the beginning. Let's talk about that.
Now has actually been a little bit more difficult. So because this year I actually created like a minimum project fee, minimum budget that I'm willing to work with. It's actually my 3-year anniversary this month.
Congratulations.
So thank you. Early on it was all social media, and it still very much is, and it's a lot of referral based stuff, but it's hard because you want referrals, and if you've only been working with kind of lower budgets, a lot of the times those referrals just, people hang out with like-minded people, similarly incomed friends, whatever.
Right.
But early on it was very much social media, and I wouldn't do this now, but it was very effective when I was building my business. So I would go into like the local Facebook groups, like the beaches, like Leslieville, anywhere where I could be let in because I was nearby.
Sure.
And I would just read the rules, and then they would say like, you can promote your business on these days. I would set up a calendar and I would just do that.
Yeah.
And then I would do a lot of, very early on I did a lot more video, and I was just trying to create a name for myself and some authority as far as like, I know what I'm talking about. So trying to do a lot of social media that way. It was more Facebook at that point. I didn't get into Instagram until more recently. But yeah, it's really mostly just been social media and then word of mouth.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, social's a tricky thing. Like with anything that's like this type of field, it's like it's never in your mind until it's like in your mind, right?
Yeah.
I would talk to a lot of like, and we don't do a lot of work with that kind of the service-based side from the advertising perspective anymore. But years ago, we used to do a lot of like roofing and this, and it's like, Google Ads And that's it. Like if someone's looking for a roof, they got roof on their brain.
Yeah.
I guess you're interested in a little bit more crossover because like the idea of like reno porn and people want to follow cool, interesting
inspiration.
Pinterest things.
Yeah.
Do you use Pinterest? Do you post a lot on there?
No. I don't. Pinterest is like breaks my brain. I honestly have no idea how to use it. It's like I don't understand it.
Right.
Aside from, sure, maybe I've posted my blogs into like Michelle's my website board, but I really don't understand how to use Pinterest at all. I'm sure there's some low-hanging fruit, but I really don't know how to use it.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was we were talking to a couple of weeks ago, but there's somebody who we came up with a great way for them to use Pinterest, which I think is actually relevant. So they were doing it, they were having their clients set up a board.
Yeah.
And going through and pinning stuff that like spoke to them. So you would almost have like a mood board that they, like a self-created one.
Yeah.
I think for you could post, you have buckets of like design inspiration and travel and whatever, and people follow it. But it's not as directly related to generating new business. It's more like people will follow you. You can build a bit of a name, but I think it's an interesting place to play, especially if you're already putting out content like nice pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
You kind of just dump it into Pinterest.
Yeah. So, I mean, if like using Instagram as an example, if I've posted a picture on Instagram, are you saying like you could also post that picture? And what do? You just upload the picture? Because I guess in my brain, I think of Pinterest as like I'm on the internet pinning web pages. Yeah. It's the only way I've ever really used it.
So think about it like if you were to tag the images in the right way, Pinterest being a search engine for inspiration of like just fashion or design or whatever, if your image resonates the right way, it could rank high in that search engine. Right. So if you had like a particular thing, like a specialty cabinet or some kind of pinstripe wallpaper, whatever, say that as an example. If you go in and write a caption about the fact that it's pinstripe wallpaper and tag it, it's the same way you would like tag your photos.
Tag it, like give me some examples, like pinstripe wall. Is that a tag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's similar to hashtags.
Yeah. Okay.
But so it's the same strategy.
Yeah.
It's like what are the ones that are relevant? What makes sense?
Okay.
So then the hope would be over time, if someone's on Pinterest searching for pinstripe wallpaper, they could stumble across your page, and it might just. The thing is with Pinterest is like 95% of it is research based.
Yeah,
so it's not
and I heard
much...
you talking about that in the last podcast I listened to about. I think it was if you were talking about any Google ads, like you want. What did you call it? It's research-based versus what?
Intent-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Pinterest as a platform is mostly research-based.
And DIY-ish a little bit.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And if you're not producing a lot of content for it, it can be tricky. But I would say putting whatever's the same pictures you're already putting up, put them on there as well, tag them up.
And then would I add like a link to my website or something?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good, and then it creates backlinks to your site.
Okay.
So it's not going to help your search engine optimization massively, but every little bit helps.
Yeah.
And then if someone takes it and were to put it on one of their websites or somewhere else, it can then create some links there as well. Okay. It's not going to be the be all and end all that's going to like make or break your website, but it can be helpful to have those types of things. And then I think the other thing is to do the same thing. So exact same strategy for Pinterest as on Houzz. Because you can create a free profile on Houzz and put up exact same shit. So even if you don't pay Houzz, and when you sign up, they're going to hound you like crazy.
I am signed up, but I just don't use it. Yeah. And I know it's hard because like as a solo, you're like, I can only do so much well, or I can do everything really terribly.
For sure.
So it's like trying to figure out where to focus your best efforts and do it as well as you can. Yeah.
And what I would say is and I'll give you some suggestions on how to get some help with that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So you could think about it like you prioritize putting the content on your most impactful places. Yeah. Probably like you strategize, you do all the hashtags, you do it all. And then you do a lot of stories, right? Which you're the focus of, so no one can really take that over. But then what I would say is you've got a bucket of content, all the pictures and all the stuff from them. If you've got someone assisting you, then maybe their job is to Pinterest and
just like recycle
recycle it and put it everywhere else.
Okay.
Because I've found, we work with a custom home builder who puts his stuff up, and a guy who has a renovation show. Have you heard of Hardcore Renos?
No.
Manny. He's got a really cool channel. We're working on a show with him. But
when you say a show, does that mean like a YouTube show?
No, like a show. Like a show that we're going to try and get on Netflix at some point.
Oh, nice. Okay, got it.
So it's like building a custom home from scratch, and we're going to film the whole thing. But he's a filmmaker by trade who became a renovator. Super interesting channel. Yeah, really cool guy.
I will remind me of that. Well, I'll listen to this.
Yeah. I'll send you the audio.
But I'll look them up. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think him and Matt, the home builder, they put a lot of content up on Houzz as much as possible. Same idea as Pinterest, and that actually does generate some leads. Okay. Just from people stumbling across it, because they're going to build their dream boards, whatever you call them, vision board. I don't know what it is.
All of the above, yeah.
But then they stumble upon something from you and like, oh, who is this person? Yeah. And if they happen to be in the right geo, it could turn into something. Yeah. And to me, for the amount of effort it actually takes to put up, fairly minimal, I think it's worth the investment of like.
And like as far as the Pinterest is concerned, like, okay, I'm posting a picture, whatever picture I posted on Instagram. Yep. Let's say it's a picture of a bedroom. Am I just making one board that I pin all of my own work into, or am I adding, or is it even relevant? Or am I adding this bedroom to a bedroom board that has my work and other people's work?
Great question. Everyone does it differently. So you could have like say this house is 123 Queen Street. So you could have a board for 123 Queen Street, and it could be everything related to that.
Okay.
You could do a board where it's like bedroom stuff, and it's all your whatever bedrooms you've done and other stuff that you find that you add to it.
Okay.
So I always find having a mix of your stuff and other people's stuff is a good blend, because it's like, otherwise it's kind of pure self-promotion. I wouldn't do Pinterest to try and get followers on Pinterest. What you want is for them to take your pictures and pin them other places. Because so what the ecosystem is basically, oh, I like this, I'm going to put it in my board. And then as their board becomes discoverable, someone else finds, oh, I was looking for a pinstripe wallpaper. Great. Oh, I'm going to put this on my board, and then their followers see it, and it can get through the shareability of it. It can get attention.
Right.
But in terms of like driving people to follow your profile, I just completely ignore it. Like that.
Really, I don't.
That's harder to get That's harder to get followers on than Twitter, and Twitter is a nightmare. So.
Don't get me started on Twitter. That's not a platform I'm into.
Yeah.
So like one of the kind of my goal for the year was to go after higher paying clients, which has proven to be more difficult. Sure. Like the first 2 years were amazing, but I'd rather have less clients that are more impactful and whatever. And so I did a bit of work with a branding company to help some of the copy. Like she helped me come up with my tagline. Yep. Try to identify, like, based on some of my current clients, who my ideal client might be. And we kind of landed on, I really would like to be working with business owners. Number one, it should in theory be easy to find where business owners are hanging out to try to, in theory. In theory. Yeah. It's not. But for me, it's like my theory on the whole business owner thing was like, if you own your own small business, you probably want a nice car, you want your house to look a certain way because it proves in a way that, like I get it, there's certain things I'm like, well, I don't want people to think I'm not doing well, so whatever. I mean, that's a theory. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but also they just get it. Like a small business owner gets that there's a process, and a lot of the times they're really busy, so they don't have time they just kind of want you to do it, and they trust you, and they let you do what you do best, because that's kind of how they do their own work. So I just haven't been like, I'm like trying to network and find places to go network, but that's been a real struggle for me to figure out, like, crack the code of how do I go after a higher paying client.
Yep. Got it.
That's a loaded question, right?
Got it. No, I like it. So there's two strategies that I recommend. Being that Instagram's a strong platform for you, what I would do is I would run very light Instagram ads.
Okay.
Like a low budget Instagram ad. And so the way I would do that is when you're in Instagram, you have the ability to boost a post.
Yep.
Never do that.
Okay.
That's like the express, just give
I
us
might have done that.
No, listen, everybody's
That's
done
just like, here you go, Facebook, have this money.
Everybody's done it. Yeah. But what it does is it limits the way that you can target and hit the right people.
Right.
And so where's your marketplace? GTA?
So I did try to run an ad where I tried to target a certain wealthier area in by postal code. I think I did.
Yep.
Again, my theory was, is this the radiator situation right now?
Oh, this is the quiet version. If it gets louder, we'll take a pause. It gets real intense.
It's so funny. So I did try to do that, but I think it's like anything. It's like you give up too quickly, right? And I tried to do businesses or something, and so I'm totally on board with this strategy. If I have I don't know if it makes sense for me to pick pockets of the city that in theory should be a wealthier client.
Yep.
And so I'm very open to strategies on how to execute that effectively and how long you should give it before you abort mission.
Got it. So let's talk about that. We're just gonna wait for this to pass.
Okay.
There. Now it's gonna. I can hear it comes from over there.
Yeah.
And it shakes the building and it gets really out of control.
So you sleep in this building, right?
Yeah. It's very loud.
Do you have to wear earplugs?
No, I'm just used to it now.
Yeah.
This should be good now.
Okay.
All right, we'll spike back in. Yes. So Facebook ads. So you ran
Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram, either one.
Okay.
So you've run some in the past where you targeted a location in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So basically, what I did was I targeted the same for all three. I was curious which image.
Yep.
Would be most which one would resonate with people. So that was really the only thing I changed was the image. Yep. And I targeted, I can't remember, it was based on geography in the city within the immediate GTA based on, I wanted to be a wealthier client, but also not Yorkdale styles necessarily yet. And then I think I only I can't remember how it works. Would I have just picked an existing post? Probably. And I targeted it, but I didn't really change what it said.
Right.
So actually, the image and the copy was obviously different because it was based on the post that I promoted.
Got it.
But I didn't necessarily just boost it. But anyways, that's what I did. I mean, it wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't revolutionary enough for me to keep going, and also just was I get scared I'm gonna waste money.
Yep.
Doing something wrong.
Got it.
Just handing money over to Instagram.
Yeah. So you're on the right track. I'd say you're about 40% there.
Okay.
So doing with the geographies makes a lot of sense. So when you drop a pin or you do by postal code, instead of by a city, you can narrow it down to 1 mile. So you can just set up a whole bunch of little dots in all of those magical little areas. Okay. You can use Canada Post has a planner for mail out.
Yeah.
Where you can target by income.
Oh.
So you can get a sense of it from that, which is helpful.
So I just go to the Canada Post website.
Yeah, it's like campaign planner for mail out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's really helpful. And then so drop all your pins. So there's a couple things with the targeting. Business owners can be gotten one of two ways. So when you're targeting, there's three different things. There's interest based, there's demographic based, and there's behavior based. Okay. So if you select business owner or small business owner, there's people that are interested in that. There's people that are business owners. So you want to find the demographic or the behavioral ones.
Oh, okay.
So and it'll say in brackets beside whatever the targeting thing is.
Okay.
So making sure that it's in the behavior of being a small business owner, that'll help. So that'll help target it. And then the other thing you can do is most business owners are Facebook page administrators. So you can also target by people who are administrators of a Facebook page.
Smart.
So those are the two.
Especially a small business, yeah.
Yeah, so those are the two that.
You can do that in Instagram?
Yes, but what you have to do is not boost. What you have to do is go to business.facebook.com.
Okay.
And create a business profile. Okay. So Michelle Binette Design will be the profile. Then you suck your pages in, your Facebook page and your Instagram so it has control. Okay. And then you create an ad account inside there. And when you create the ad account, that's where you can build out more robust targeting. So what you'll do is you'll create, and I'll send you the recording so you don't have to remember all this, but you create an engagement ad. Then you use that targeting, so your little dots and your Facebook page admin and your small business owner behavior, right? So then it's a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
And then you can either choose, so the third screen is you can choose an existing post or you can choose a dark post. So that's something that's not in your Instagram feed. It's something that's customized to only be seen by certain people.
Okay.
Which is typically a good idea because the way that you're going to word the copy is usually going to be different than what you post.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's going to be a little bit more, you're going to ask them a question, or you're going to be trying to draw some engagement with the conclusion of come talk to me. So the wording's going to be different. So you can use the same image, but when you get to the third page, it'll say create an ad or use an existing post. So you could create an ad, and then that will do it that way.
And what is your thoughts on what should I be making them do in my ad? What should I be saying? Like, I'm not trying to sell, obviously, right away.
Yeah, so it depends on what your funnel looks like. Your sales cycle is long. Mm-hmm. Right? So, and with real estate, like real estate's the worst. That's like 9 months, 8 months.
Oh, wow.
So that's like, you really got to be content heavy. But your rudimentary low-hanging fruit, you could probably ask for people to come to your website and see if they like you.
Yeah.
The bigger picture, I would create 2 or 3 pieces of super value-driven content, get them to your website, and then retarget them later. It's obviously more of an advanced process, but like, anything where you can explain a process that they can take away and do themselves without ever hiring you. That's the best type of content.
I'm curious about that. So, because in my space, there's obviously a lot of people who are DIYers, right? And like, I'm trying to go after somebody who, because there's also, some designers, myself included, last year, where you might put together a plan for a client for them to execute on their own. Yep. So now I'm kind of like, okay, no, I don't even want to do that. I want, unless it's on my terms, great client, I'm slow, but it's not on my website. It's not like a package that I openly talk about.
Right.
So it's full service. Like, you don't want to do it. You have no desire to do it. Right. You know that you can't do it. You're a busy human. You have other things to do. So if that's the type of person I'm going after, do you still suggest, like, is it just you got to be different about what those like do-it-yourself type value adds are, if that's the type of person I'm trying to get?
Yes and no. I think there's an argument to be made to give them very similar content. Because even the person that knows they can't do it on their own likes the dreaming process. Likes the, but if I did this, then this. They're going to go down that mental path with this. And I think it's with everything, right? Like, even people that I talk to that are thinking about doing marketing, they know they're going to outsource it, but they just want to taste it. I want to run my own Facebook ads. So to me, it's like giving them the tools to dabble, and then they're like, cool, I'm done playing. I need to hire somebody. So, but I think the content is very similar. And I think creating some stuff that's a little bit more DIY because of the mass appeal will help build the brand faster than something that's like completely specific to, I'm going to save you time and effort and money. Yeah. If you're going down the path of saving time and effort and money, what I would do is I would curate content that's like, the best like cabinet brands or the best wallpaper style. So almost like fashion blog style, the top 10 this, the up and coming designers who are making this, or like these products. That's how I would do it. Like paint color trends, right? Yeah. So create that so they can start, you can like help them build out their lookbook.
Yeah. Which then they might pass off to you they're like, okay, I've done.
Yes.
And it also helps your process a little bit too.
Exactly.
Because it's a lot of the stuff you'd have to do when you start working with.
And so I would think about it like this. So you can, Pinterest has like a plugin that can tap into your website. Okay. So if they're like hovering over it, it's like, oh, do you want to save this to Pinterest?
Oh yeah, I do have that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you could do is, here's the top trends for this paint colors, or the this or the that. Target that content out to those higher profile people. And then when they're on it, they're like, oh, these are the popular things that I should care about because I want popular things. Yeah. Because that's usually the mindset. Yeah. And then they can save those things into Pinterest, and then you're kind of attached to it in that way. Okay. So that I would maybe go that instead of DIY, like the top. Yes. Okay. And it could be like, the up and coming hutch makers. I don't fucking know what it could be. Like, you know what I mean though? Like,
an idea that the lady I was working with suggested was like creating quizzes too. So like, I'm putting a heavy emphasis on art, like, and that's kind of one of the things that I trying to differentiate. That's another tough thing. Is like, how am I different? But so she's like, you could make like, what's my art style? And people love quizzes, so you could do that to at least get them in. And also, she's like, double whammy. It's helped them. It gives you information that's valuable if you do start working with them, that they've already done some work, which is kind of helpful, because there is a lot of. You are asking a client to do, like, if we're going to work together, it's important for me to be able to hit the mark for you to do some of that upfront work for me, to understand your style and what you like, what you don't like, what is your budget that's realistic. What's your thought on a tool to help them come up with a budget? Is that just, is that crap?
It's challenging for your industry.
Okay.
You could do like a style questionnaire that spits out based on these things, this would be a budget, but it'd be really hard with the variables of things, because if they're doing like, then you'd have to have like a bathroom one and a kitchen one and a whatever, and then how many different things do you have within it to make it full enough so you'd actually get a realistic budget? I don't know. I know there's a piece of software that's like a reporting dashboard thing, where on the homepage, as I went down, and this is what got me to buy it, it was like, how many clients do you have? And I was like, oh, fuck, I'll fill it in, whatever. Yeah. And then it said, how many metrics do you give them for reporting?
Okay.
And then how long does it take you to do each one? And it was like 5 things, and it was like, cool. Well, you could be spending this amount of time or paying your employees this amount to build these dashboards. Or if you sign up, it's like, $99 a month instead of $400 because of the man hours and because of all the stuff. And I was like, oh fuck, all right, let's do it. I don't know if there's too many variables for it to work for you, but I like it as a concept. There's a lot of variables for sure. Like it could just be, because what I do when I'm working early on, and to be honest, there's a lot of like pre-qualifying that I would like to be doing. Yeah. I like, well, not wasting my time. Not to say it like that, but talking to people who their budgets are just so unrealistic. Yep. Like, it is a luxury service. Yeah. What I would do. What's your main intake of lead? Website? Do you get a lot through there? Yeah. So it'll be 2 things. It's either someone's filled out the form on my website immediately and that has some pre-qualifying questions, and then how many? Like, what's your budget? Share a Pinterest board if you have it. Give me a quick idea of the scope. I want to say like 5 things. Make it like 10. Yeah? Make it 10. Like, I want to be turning people off because they're more motivated if they're actually doing it. Make it 10, and then make the budget a drop down that starts at 100 to 150. 150 to 250. Because then they could be like, oh, well, that's clearly like, if that's where she's starting. Yeah, one of our other clients, they build rock climbing walls. Okay. For gyms. If I want to start a gym, these guys would come in and manufacture the wall, and theirs is like 17 questions. Wow. But the people that fill it out are super qualified. It's not the guy who wants like one panel in the basement in his home. It's like, right? So you can push people out not push people out, but it's better. So then, because everyone's getting wasted time if it's not the right thing. 100%. So I would make somebody spend 45 seconds to 2.5 minutes filling out your form, and I think you'll get better filter on that. Okay. Yeah. That's so funny, because like I was told the opposite, but I can totally get up. I think that the opposite holds true if you're really just trying to build an email list, but I don't really just want to build an email list. Like, if I have a lead funnel for clients, like, I'd rather be. You can have a pop-up on your website that's like, hey, you want some design inspiration weekly? Here you go. Yeah. As opposed, so that makes a lot of sense. That's an easy fix. I lost my train of thought. I thought I was going to ask something else. But that's all right. So I'll go back to the Facebook ad thing, because I think it's a good. Okay. So you've got your map pins, you've got your targeting, and you pick like one of your best performing pictures. Something you posted it. So go through. Oh, this has got the most, and you can see. So when you sign up for this business.facebook.com, you can actually go back through the insights and get really in-depth information about what's performed, including Instagram, obviously. Yeah, and so. What I would do from there is, I've got that, and then I write my copy. So the best way to run those ads is to run at $3 to $5 a day. Okay. For as long as you can. Okay. So the reason you do that is because, so I would run it at like $5 to $10 a day for the first week. Because what that does is it generates a bunch of engagements. It gets a couple hundred likes or 500 or 600 likes. Then the next person seeing it at 600 likes, oh, this is actually like meaningful. Enough people have paid attention to this, even if you forced it. Yeah. Doesn't matter. So once you get kind of like past that 1,500 likes, then people start taking it more seriously. So the longer it's up, the better. Now, you can preload your daily budget. So you get a bunch of them up front, and then you can literally put it back to $1 a day and just let it run forever and ever and ever. The longer you let something run, and the less dependent that content is on a specific time. So what we call it is evergreen content. Mm-hmm. So it's like this Perrier can live on forever, and it doesn't matter. It's not snowing in the background. We're not referencing an event. Yeah. It's just, here's a Perrier can, go. Leave that forever and ever and ever and ever, because the more likes and the more engagement it gets, then people start sharing it and tagging other people in it. So the longer you can let stuff run, the better.
Oh, but like, is there a point where you're like, well, there's no point in running this longer because it's just not performing? Like, yeah, for sure. And that's just getting deep, but. Yep.
No, so what I do is, if you run it as an engagement style ad, which is, there's about 9 different types of ads you can run, but engagement, which is like a share, a comment is an engagement, or a traffic ad, which is like someone going to another destination like the website. Okay. So I would run it as an engagement ad. Okay. And what you want to monitor is the engagement rate. So how many people saw it versus how many people took an action. So when you're in the dashboard, it's called the interaction rate. If that's above 2, then you're in great shape. If it's below 0.75, it's kind of shit.
And so maybe this is a stupid question, but like, what does engagement do for me if I'm trying to think of like a long-term ROI?
Sweet fuck all. Really, it's nothing. But the short answer is nothing. It's not guaranteeing traffic to the website. Okay. You can have a button that says learn more and go to the website, and people can still click it on an engagement ad. Oh, okay. It doesn't limit it. You just add a call to action, which is learn more. So you will get some traffic to the site. At first, nothing. People are going to see a pretty picture and they're going to like it. And then more people will like it, and you're going to be like, oh, that's great. I had an ad that we ran for an e-commerce store, and the first 9 months gathered somewhere around 2,500 likes and about.
So you ran it for 9 months.
Yep, we ran it for 18. But at the 9-month mark, it was at like 500 comments and 900 shares. Like, it was crazy engagement. Nothing, barely any traffic visits to the store. No purchases.
And was that Instagram or Facebook? Sorry.
That particular one was on Facebook.
Like, were you at least getting new fans?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something.
It was some, but heavy level, like the ratio of people sharing it out with their friends. So here's what happens, right? If I share it and then that person takes an action, it's outside of the ad. So that traffic to the website, you don't see it through the ad platform, but I know if you put in so I'll get to that in one sec. But what ended up happening, just to kind of finish the story, is there was so much engagement on it that it took on a life of its own. So we ran it at $1 a day for the remaining time, and it went from I think it did 8 sales in the first 9 months, and then it was averaging 25 sales a month for every month after that. Wow. Because it got to that tipping point where people were like, holy fuck. This is so cool, and like so many people care about it. Yeah. So the bigger those numbers are, the new people seeing it will see it as relevant or more important. Yeah. That's the key. Okay. That's what you do it for. So as much as you can front load, and then over time, as it gets steam, over 1,500 likes, people, oh, this is interesting. This has got to be.
And you just kind of let it do its thing.
Let it do its thing. So unless
I'll be able to know like how many people liked my page from that.
Yep.
And stuff like that.
Not on Instagram.
Oh. Okay.
No, that's a big lacking thing from the Instagram perspective. Yeah, unfortunately. If it was a Facebook ad, it would.
Well, what's your hot take? Facebook or Instagram? And I'm sure it's like industry specific, but
for you, I would run the same thing on both.
Okay.
Yeah, and just see what happens. Because Facebook Facebook's has the shareability and people's desire to share on Facebook is higher than Instagram. Instagram will they'll tag it or they'll like it, but it's not going to go as viral when it's like a picture of a pretty thing. It'll get some following on both. I would run the exact same thing with the exact same picture, exact same call to action on both.
Okay, well that's
and then maybe
enough.
You'll see. So what I find is Facebook is better for conversion. Instagram is cheaper for engagement.
Okay.
So on Facebook, you're going to pay 10 or 12 cents an engagement. On Instagram, it might be like 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can run video, if you have like a 15-second video, it's going to have even better performance.
Is that Facebook or for either?
I would video on Instagram.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Facebook, not so much. So Facebook picture, Instagram picture, or video. The kind of thing that sucks with Instagram with video though, as an engagement ad, is a view is an engagement. So it's 1 cent engagements, but it's like, how much are people actually taking other actions from there? Mm-hmm. And that will dictate if it's good or not.
Okay.
But it's good for viewability.
Yeah.
Right? And you could do it in a way where like, it just run a video at $1 a day, it's going to get 100 views, and it'll like, so if you've got a cool video of some, 15, 20 seconds, I would run that just as like a branding exercise.
I don't have anything like that, but I can.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about video. We were talking briefly about that.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, I feel like it's important for me to be doing consistent video. I don't know, and it's the whole like, should it be on YouTube? And I just repurpose that now to Instagram or like Instagram's IGTV.
Yep.
But regardless of that, like the barrier for me with a video is the editing of the video. Yep. Which is why I like stories, especially now that you can hold it and like not have to like that whole like whatever. That was really annoying. But I like and I also like Facebook Live. I don't do it very much on my business page, but because I don't care so much about it being polished. Mm-hmm. But so like what are some strategies on getting videos edited at a reasonable rate? That's not like, I'm not looking for like somebody revolutionary here.
You gotta talk to Pia. she's a very, both these guys.
She's like, pretend you can't hear
That's
them.
fine.
Pretend you can't hear them.
No, so there's a couple different things you can do. My recommendation is you can put out job posts on school website, on like school job boards.
Yeah, like university.
George Brown.
Yeah.
So anyone that has that type of program, hey, I'm looking for someone to work part time. It's this amount an hour. Post it on those job boards. Okay. Really effective.
Okay.
Really, really effective. I lucked into these guys through my kind of network, but so that's one way. So George Brown and Sheridan and that, because even if people are working full time somewhere, that like extra at X amount an hour in the after hours can be really practical. Okay. So people like that are just in the workforce, but it's a recent graduate, they're probably still attached to that circulation. Yeah. So university and college job boards online is really good. And then depending on how much time you have to manage people as a whole, I haven't actually like gotten down. I'm telling everyone about it, but I haven't fully used it yet. There's a thing called Gen M, and it's like digital remote internships, but it's all North American. Okay. So it's a guy out of Ottawa who came up with it, and so you pay into the platform, you get credits towards having interns. They give you 10 hours a week for 3 months. And
what, and like in all facets, like in anything, is it also like VA work? And
so you can look at you can look up by their skills. You can look up by what they're trying to do, but I think the way that it works is they get some kind of credit for putting in that work.
Okay.
So school credit or jobs. Cool. So it's beneficial to them.
Yeah.
It's not just like,
you hate to feel like you're taking advantage of anybody.
Yeah. And so we're interviewing for some of those positions right now, just for mass content creation, right? So we shoot this, and this is all these cameras, and then this audio. So what we're gonna do is we'll make this into a full length YouTube. Yep. Then the audio will go into the podcast. Mm-hmm. Then we'll find a short enough segment to put on IGTV, Facebook Watch, LinkedIn.
What is Facebook Watch?
Facebook Watch is the same thing as Instagram TV.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, neither has anybody. So it's more like you have to apply for it, and they'll let you know if you're in or not. But it's the same thing. It's long form video content on Facebook.
On Instagram TV, what is your Well, I guess it only. How long can
15 minutes.
And what do you recommend is the length of time for an Instagram video?
I don't know. We've had some that are like, so we put up one that was like 3 minutes, and then we're just about to put up one that's 10. I don't have a clue yet. I haven't played with it enough. I haven't played with it enough. I know that so here's what I know. If you're putting videos on there, the amount of your discovery feed that has IGTV videos is getting bigger, quicker, real fast. So they're pushing the shit out of it. So to me, it's a great place to play because Instagram cares about it. So it's like, why not go after that while you can? So I think it's important, which is why we're cutting down 3 to 10 minute clips, and we're going to put those up on there.
Right.
And then stuff that's obviously cut for stories, stuff that's obviously and then I don't know if you've seen the one. There's this program called Wave, WAVVE.
No.
And so you make a picture, you put the picture, and then you upload audio, and it makes the files like the audio file, and you can make the audio in like this wave or up here or like in a circle, and it makes like an animated photo for you.
Okay.
So when I'm trying to create, maybe 30 pieces of total content out of this, it might be more practical for it to go to an intern style thing where we're like, hey, just create, animate some stuff in a story or use these sound waves or all that stuff.
I have seen that. Like, no, I didn't know where it was coming from, but
it's really
like,
cool.
and what about stories? Like, do you put a high value on stories?
Absolutely. Just because of the visibility, live and stories as much as humanly possible. People like the personal raw behind the scenes. They just like connecting.
Yeah.
And so one thing I've noticed, we've tinkered with a couple different accounts with like posting 3 times a week versus every day versus once every 2 weeks versus and what we found is the more frequency you post, at least once a day, the further up the feed you get because they like volume.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know from the algorithm side if that's true, just what we've observed.
Yeah.
So at least one story every day is moving your little bubble closer to the front of people's feeds.
Oh, you know what? I wasn't sure what that was. I didn't know if it was me watching, like it was favoring the ones I watched more.
It's part of that, but I think what ties into that is frequency.
Okay.
So at least something every day. Even if it's like, yo, I did this new post, click to see that's the cheat version of it.
Yeah.
Even stuff like that. But every day, something on the story, at least 1 or 2 things.
Yeah, I keep telling myself
your stories are great though. You do a really good job.
I just try to make them like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
No, you do a good job.
Thank you. But sometimes I'm just like, I have nothing to say today. Like I just really have nothing to say, and I also don't want to be the person that's just like, I came on just to come on. But what I noticed for Instagram, I was really like, I wanted to mostly put more of my content on. Like a lot of designers will do inspiration, which I'm totally fine with. And because, sometimes when I'm a newish business and I've done lots of projects, but that doesn't mean I've photographed all of them because I'm only putting out what I want to get more of. And even the ones I put out, like I don't still feel like I've had those projects that are like 100% like truly my vision, my aesthetic or whatever. But I was really struggling on like what to post, so I was doing a terrible job. But then I started using the preview app to like build it. And now that I have it all built and I'm like, I'm excited to post. So I think I have to do the same thing for stories.
Which one do you use for the planning?
It's called Preview.
Oh, okay.
And it's free.
Yeah.
I've heard of other ones.
Color Story is the one we use. So.
Yeah, I mean, is it a color story? So. Yeah. So A Beautiful Mess. Those bloggers are the ones that came up with that one.
Preview is the one you use.
I use Preview, and I think A Color Story has a whole bunch of like, you can pay for filters too, right? And they're really good filters.
Yeah.
But I just started using that one. Someone told me about it, and it's been very effective. But I think that I have to do the same. I have to come up with a plan for my week on like what I'm going to talk about, and not try to go into my week and go like, do I have something today, and just come up with a strategy. One
thing that will help kind of hack content, so being a Toronto-based person, you're not a local brick and mortar, but you still want to build community. Yeah. You want people to like you. Yeah. So what I would do is if you're like, fuck, I don't have anything in my story today, like I'm not going anywhere, I'm sitting in my pajamas, what the fuck?
Which is every day, but
that's fine, film from here. Is getting content from vendors or people that you're in regular contact with to give them the shout out. Oh. So you get... punching the microphone. You get their content and you're like, hey, Audio Technica just came out with this new whatever, or hey, these guys just did this cool renovation in their building, or hey,
that's a good idea.
New product launch, this at whatever, just launched this new wallpaper, it's friggin' awesome, check it out. So then you're giving them love, giving them shout out, and you can use their pictures and they'll be happy to let you use them because you're saying nice things about them.
And they'll probably like reshare it on their story.
Yeah, and so it's good for getting that residual bounce of
I wonder if there's a way like companies to be that are not necessarily just design companies, but companies that might have my audience. But I don't know who that would be right now. But I think
and you got to kind of dig in, make a list, make a hit list of like people to reach out to.
That's a good
Even
idea.
like, you know, I say it to like mortgage brokers and real estate agents all the time. Like, be the like friendly neighborhood person who gives them love. Like, do stories in other people's spaces with them tagged. Introduce them, like interview them, talk to people about stuff. Because then, you know what I mean? Then they're getting that. And then, again, from the greedy side of it, is that they then share it out. And then they're pinning you up, and then you've got audience of theirs.
Yeah, that's so true.
So it has a residual impact.
And I could just create a running list so that it's like, don't know what to do today. So boom, like just start doing that.
What I do is we have a ghost Instagram account that only follows very particular things. So when I go into the feed, it's like only a handful of very specific things. So I don't have to go from profile.
Okay. So like, for example, give me an example.
So for example, we have one Instagram account that only follows our clients. So that when I'm going through, I can just, at a quick glance, I can see what all our clients are posting all the time. And then I can give them feedback or talk to them about it. Then you could have a separate Instagram account that is following, here's the 10 or 15 brands that I'm going to use to, and then it's just it's just easier to watch.
I was just going to say, that's the idea. Like, you're not being barraged with like a bunch of other stuff that you're not seeing what you're intending.
Then you don't have to go from profile to profile. You just like a couple times a week, you pop on and like scroll through. And then it takes 30 seconds to see what all these people have posted in that week.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool.
And you can cheat. So don't tell Gmail, but you can cheat. So you can make, so what you do is you same email address.
Okay.
And then you go +1. I think that's how it works. +1. Okay. So you can't make another Instagram account with your same email.
Oh, you can't?
No.
You can't have more than one Instagram account?
Not with your same email account.
Really?
So what you do, I think, is you go +1 and it doesn't recognize it.
Oh.
It doesn't recognize those things.
Okay.
And then it allows you to use the same email address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there's another hack.
Yeah.
Good. How are we doing for time? Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah. What time is it? Are we good?
I actually don't have a running clock.
Okay. Yeah, I don't care.
What's your hot take on LinkedIn?
Oh shit, we got lots.
Probably. We have lots of time?
My next one's not till 3.
Oh, okay. LinkedIn. So obviously, if I'm trying to go after, like, what's that?
That was on my mind from the beginning.
Because a lot of designers, I don't think, use LinkedIn really, and so I feel like if I'm going after like a business owner or somebody that's like got money, they probably are on LinkedIn. And so I started by at least following all my existing clients or any lead that I've had, just so that like if they're engaging, it's whatever. But aside from that, I really haven't done anything on LinkedIn. I'm going to try to be more active there.
Yeah. It's a great place. The organic reach in LinkedIn is crazy right now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm spending a lot of time on it right now.
So what do you do on it?
So same thing. So it's all the existing content, and then you format it for the platform.
Okay.
So my business will share, hey, the new podcast is out, with a picture linking back to either YouTube or to the website page. So my business is posting that.
Okay.
And then Mike the human is also posting. So tagging the brand. So always tagging our brand. So if my network is seeing it, I can push them back to follow my brand, number one.
Okay.
And then we use about 3 to 5 hashtags on the posts. So I use it within the content. So if you within the sentence structure, if you can, I'm doing that, and then so there's 2 ways of posting from yourself. One is a post, and one is an article.
Okay.
2 different things. I split back and forth between the 2. So my post is if I'm linking out to YouTube, a video or something else. So it'll be like, hey, check out, tag as many things as you can, a couple of hashtags. So tag whatever. So when I did the one with the mortgage broker, I tagged a bunch of real estate agencies and mortgage broker companies, and then some of them took it and liked it or did whatever they did with it.
Okay.
So it just draws their attention in.
Yep.
and then it linked out to the YouTube video. So that was one thing.
Okay.
And then if you have longer form stuff, like whatever's on your blog, put that on LinkedIn as well. It doesn't care if it's identical content.
Do you mean as an article? So like cut, copy, paste?
Yeah.
So
put it right into there. And
okay.
Yeah, and then so that it shows up differently, but I find that making sure that you have at least one thing a month. If someone's coming to your profile, it's better for it to not be blank.
Yeah.
So having, say one post every 2 weeks or one post a month, and then one article at least once a month is like a good ratio of stuff. But the article you can cheat. The article can be whatever you've already made an article from. You can just repurpose it.
Okay.
And the post could be linking to different places. So depending on, and the post could be like, hey, I know you're working on a podcast, so it can be, hey, the new episode just came out.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? Like, I'm a little bit, like, I don't really do much with it because I'm like, first of all, it's not like I really want clients to hear that. Because sometimes there's like, you're talking real stuff about like situations,
right?
Whatever, or even like financial stuff. Like it's like I want no part of my clients really listening to that.
I wouldn't have a podcast then.
What's that? Well, I don't promote it anywhere.
Right.
Well, that's not true. Like I have a Facebook group that's like geared to designers, and I promote it in there. And I do put it. If it doesn't feel ultra sensitive. I will post it on my Instagram, and I don't care.
So let me ask you this. Let's take a step back. What is the point of it?
The ultimate goal of my podcast is that I'm using it as an excuse to talk to designers, and designers will not say no when you ask them to be on a podcast. Designers will not say yes. What's that? No, I'm just kidding. Well, like, unless you're me. But but if you're... like if I were to, because I'm a new business and I'm self-taught and like, so everything is new. Yeah. So I want to learn I want to get as much information as I can.
So it's more B2B focused.
Very much. And ultimately, like, I mean, there's long-term there, like, it's not like I'm thinking it may not become something. I do have like 1,200 people in my Facebook group. That could become something down the line. Yep. Building an audience is always good. Yep. Don't know what I would do with it, but ultimately the idea is I want to pick your brain, and if I just asked you to pick your brain, you would say no. Right. And it's a very effective strategy. Got it. Yeah, I want to take you out for coffee, does not yield as much information as come on my podcast. Yeah. Right. And people are into it, and like I can actually talk to people, and people are excited and flattered that you want them to be on your podcast. Yeah, so, for sure. Yeah. Yep. So that's ultimately the goal. Obviously, secondary goals is like great if that becomes that could be something that I monetize. I don't know, but that's really not the ultimate goal. Got it. I'm really just trying to learn as much as I can in an industry that I came into like late in the game and without any real formal training. It's tricky where because right now your profile is client and B2B facing, and you don't want to set up a separate persona just to deal with the B2B side. Yeah. So that's tricky. If you've got sensitive stuff that you don't want clients to hear, I don't know. Like you could set up separate channels for it, but then you got to manage another channel. Yeah. So I'm just kind of the mentality of like, I don't know that I necessarily need to put it out there. Like that's not my ultimate goal. If it organically grows, I continue to promote it in my closed group. That's fine. Yeah. But the interesting thing is a lot of designers, and I did a poll, but those polls are like whoever you're watching your stories, like how many of you are a designer, how many of you are not. Right. It's a significant amount of people that are designers that follow other designers. Yeah. So it's a very like muddy audience of like a lot of designers, but also potential clients. And it's like, and I find there's a lot of I'm trying to keep it specific to like people following me, and then hopefully they become clients at some point. But I think there's a part of it where it's like, so I'll give you my example. I use mine for not directly for lead gen, but just for building brand. Yeah. Right. Somebody listening to this, hearing the ideas I give to people is really helpful for people that are thinking about hiring. 100%. Right. So that's my goal with this. But for me, it's a way of communicating where I'm poor at communicating another way. Like I write like a 6-year-old child, so this is my medium, and so this is why I'm into it. But this is like, it's kind of validates us and shows us that we know what we're talking about. So that's my motivation. I would say it's good for you. It's a good
to get respect within the industry, but
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't promote it if it's going to have that like certain content that's not really.
Yeah, there's
tricky.
just some stuff that's just a little sensitive when you're having a conversation with a designer about like, tell me about a bad experience with a client, and then you're like, here was mine,
Yeah,
you know, and then you're like,
yeah.
well, okay. So I'm pretty particular about what ones I might.
Right.
But I get a lot of people that are like sharing it, and then I'll reshare it, like if because it's, you know, people are enjoying it, but I'm just kind of like, this is starting to get a little confusing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I do find a lot of designers are confusing, even their blogs. It's like sometimes they write a blog for another interior designer, but then sometimes it's like, that's getting a little confusing. Like, who's your true audience?
I don't have a good answer to that.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to deal with that situation.
I'm just gonna not, unless it's like most clients are not gonna go through they're gonna be like, why would I listen to this?
Right.
Unless they're like,
yeah. But here, but there is an argument, and this just popped into my head. I think that there's an argument against, well, if you swear, people are going to be turned away from wanting to work with you.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Totally.
To be honest, fuck it. I don't like
I want to work with people who are going to get me.
So I feel the same way about your content, right? Like if they're not playful enough to be like, yeah, I bet some clients would be idiots.
Yeah.
Then it's like, fuck it. Don't listen
true.
to my
That's
thing.
That's a good way to look at it. I guess it has to be so specific that one client that happened to be the example happened to listen to that.
And if you're going to put it out there in a medium like podcast, just because it's so on trend and it's, you know, a lot of the people that are in it feel like it's so saturated now, but like it's just starting.
Yeah, I know.
And so you could really build big brand, big audience using it, which is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Maybe you should just put it out.
Yeah. Who knows?
Hard to say. You have to come to terms with the backfire from it.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're gonna get backfire from any time you're trying to be the brand. There's going to be people like, oh, I don't like the way you do this, so I'm never going to work with you.
Yeah.
Which
I am okay with that.
You're going to flesh that out anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just another layer of that. So I wouldn't work.
And I guess it's true. It's like you can't please everybody. So, you know, I just never want to be offensive to existing clients at all. Obviously, it's not like I'm horrific like that, but. That went a little too deep, but I probably shouldn't have said any of that. But regardless, I guess it's just a matter of figuring out whether it makes sense for me to keep promoting it. Because I did think maybe I should just open up a second Instagram that's more specific to that. But who's got time for that?
It's a lot of maintenance.
It is a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
I just stopped having my own personal account too because it was too much to go back and forth.
I'm on my way there right now.
It's too much.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But no, I think spending time writing, even repurposing stuff for LinkedIn that links back to the website or links back to other places is great, just because of the reach of it's really good. I would, if you have a piece of content that's like really high quality that speaks to a really specific audience, I would post it on LinkedIn and use it as an excuse to connect.
Okay.
So if that piece of content does not lead back to you needing to be hired to be the answer, then it's good content.
Okay.
Right? So if it's 2/3 of the answer, then you're like, but you got to hire me to know the rest.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But if it's like really like, here's 10 awesome things that'll help you do this, then you could reach out to people and say, hey, I wanted to connect with you. I wrote this piece that I think is really great. Just wanted to share it with you if you're interested. If not, whatever.
Yeah.
If that piece of if they agree to that and then they come and you're like, oh, but you have to hire me, then they're gonna be like, fuck this.
Yeah,
what was this? You suckered me in.
Yeah.
But if it is truly standalone, a really good piece, then that will really help you as well. So I play with that idea as well.
And what like, I guess, what kind of people would because it's so like, just any business owner or whatever. I guess it just depends on what I write about, but
yeah,
that's the piece that's a little bit like difficult for my brain. But
yeah, because your audience only needs you when they need you, and it's really specific, and there's not like you can't really build a persona that you can then target that way.
Yeah,
it's a little bit
I know.
challenging.
Yeah.
I would build out a persona as best you can and find them like, so you can search on LinkedIn by like job title and then what industry they're in and the seniority that they have, and maybe do it that way. Sales Navigator, you can actually, so that's like the upgraded version of the LinkedIn. You can get like really narrow on like who you want to target, and then just do an individual reach out to them, or just see how it works. Like just test the waters. It might be a crapshoot, but to me, here's the thing, right? If it's somebody, even if they're not interested now, but they fit your persona, and then they do agree to follow you, and then you post something 8 months later that's the right piece, and they're like, oh, you know what? Or maybe their friend Susan's like, I'm looking for someone. Oh, this girl, she just did this post. You should go talk to her.
Totally.
It's just, it all nets out to positive attention. So I would say just kind of experiment with it. And if they're not the right people to follow you, they'll either leave or they'll say no or whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
But
okay. I will have to try that for sure and actually start actively posting on LinkedIn.
Well, I feel we tackled a lot.
We did.
That's
Thank
very
you.
good. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.